God damn it. I do this every time, bro. What's up? New lessons. So, dude, I keep doing this every freaking time. What's up with it? Was good. Hope you guys are having the best motherfucking Wednesday. If you're on Thai Live, y'all know what it is. It's 8 p.m. already. It's crazy. Been locked in at the desk all day today. You guys know we're putting in the reps. What's good? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. How are we? You guys excited? Another live potty? What's up? Casey, what's good? Abby, what's up? Hope you guys are doing well. We're going to be going live. We're going to be recording yet another live podcast episode for you guys. What's up? How's your going? Let me know in the comments. Drop some fire if you guys are excited for this episode. Whoa, I think I almost broke my freaking microphone. That would have been good. What's good? Lizzie, how are you? I look like Will Ferrell. Do you guys think I look like Will Ferrell at all? I don't think so. That's crazy. I don't know where you got that from. I don't think there's any resemblance whatsoever. Yeah. I know this is a different time. I normally don't do it this late. I was going to do it earlier, but honestly, a few of my calls went a little longer than expected. But we're going to get it fucking popping. Let's jump right into this because I have another meal to get in, and I want to get to bed early tonight. That way I have a good workout tomorrow. Can you guys agree with that? Like, in order to have a good workout, you need some good sleep. Cool. Fuck yeah. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to hit this guy and make sure my microphone is plugged in because apparently the recording yesterday, that didn't happen. Apparently the mic came out yesterday for the recording. Don't know what that was, but it is what it is. Spitting image of Will Ferrell. That is hilarious, bro. Thank you for that. Damn, 70 people on TikTok. Yo, I love it. All right, cool. So let's get into it in 3, 2, and 1. What is going on? Mother truckers, welcome back to another episode of the Shit Your Mind Change Your Life podcast. This is your favorite online coach, Coach Sal. Let's get it. In today's episode, we're talking about 3 lessons that I have learned since 2020, the last few years, since I've really embarked on starting my company and building my business, leaving my corporate job, and pursuing my career as an online trainer and helping other people. Today's episode, I want to tell how these core principles can change life is for you to just hear one thing differently and you can change your life for good. And it's crazy how that works. So let's get into this. Now, as we're going through this episode, I really want to make sure that you guys are clearly listening with intent. Maybe you're taking notes, but whatever the case may be, I'm super excited for this. So let's get into this. Now, the reason that I wanted to bring this up to you guys here tonight on this episode, and normally this is a different time recording. Usually I'm in the afternoons, but we're switching it up here today, keeping things fresh. But I wanted to share this 3 lessons I've learned since 2020 because it was around that time. I know we could all agree it was probably a weird time regardless. I'm not really going to get into that. Just going to speak on my story and where I was at that time. I was working construction in the city. I was commuting in and out. For those who are new here, if you've been on the podcast a little bit, you guys have heard me talk about this. But I'm starting with this for a reason, and I'll get to the deeper lessons here in just a second. But I was working construction for quite some time during those years. And it was pretty difficult. And I was basically drilling holes for a living. So if you could imagine how tedious and monotonous that lifestyle was, it wasn't really a lot of fun. And for quite some time, I didn't really think there was a way out. I literally thought that was going to be my life forever, that I was going to be in train tunnels drilling holes. Because we could all probably agree that when we're kind of stuck in a rut, we maybe don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it can be a very daunting place to be. And I understand that, which is why I'm recording this episode. Like, for me personally, like, I was going out every weekend, I was drinking a lot, smoking a lot. I really felt lost. And like, I have done a complete 180. I want to say 360, but I don't know if that sounds right. But regardless, like, for me, it really wasn't until I got deeper into fitness that things started to change for me. Like, once I started taking care of me, right? Like, my mental health, my physical health, like starting to really immerse myself in personal growth, whether that was books, podcasts, just really trying to seek out information on a daily basis. Like, that really helped me change my mindset. And specifically for a lot of my clients that come into our coaching program, I think that's really how it naturally starts is like we are just curious. Maybe we want weight loss. Maybe we want to build muscle. We want to come in to have a physical transformation. Normally, that's how it starts. But then, as a byproduct of going through the process, we end up changing our whole lives. And it's actually pretty remarkable when you break that down. And it's curious to me, like, we think about that for a second. Like, why is that? Why is it that we come into it with maybe trying to lose a few pounds, and then throughout that we're just like, holy fuck, how did I get here? I know my assistant coach Kim loves to say that all the time. She's like, yo, I don't know how the fuck I got here, but I'm fucking lit, right? And that's really what it is. And I think for me, and a lot of our clients, it's because a lot of times like we have these limiting beliefs that we constantly tell ourselves, and we believe that they're true, and then they start to hold us back, right? And they start to really cripple us from making strides in our life. It's those stories, right? And as you're listening to me speak about that, you probably are thinking of maybe a certain thing that you constantly tell yourself, right? Like maybe you think, hey, I'm not good enough. I don't have the time, this, and that. And you guys have heard me talk about this, but we find a lot of reasons and excuses as to why we don't have what we want instead of actually doing things differently. And these are the lessons that I wanted to share with you guys today. Now, I don't really love the word lesson, but simply put, it's what we're going to break down for us today. And that's foundationally what I wanted to cover with this is that once you start to act differently, you start to see change. And then throughout that process, like you naturally want more. And then you start to ask, well, how far can I take this? How much further can I go? And, like as humans, we're just naturally curious. And that ties into what I wanted to talk about today. And there's three core principles and lessons that I've learned over the last few years that I think you guys can get a ton of value from. So make sure you got your notepads ready. If you're listening on the replay and you're driving, just make sure that maybe you pause it, pull over and screenshot this because you're going to need it. First one, three core lessons and principles that I've learned over the last few years that will drastically impact your life. Number one, you will never be ready. I'll say that again. You will never be ready. And this applies to pretty much everything, not just your fitness journey. This is making sense so far. If you guys are here with me live and you're getting value from this at all, just let me know and drop some fire in the comments. Okay. But to that point, you will never be ready. I think a lot of times that we have ideas in our minds like, hey, maybe I want to start a business. I want to do a show. I want to move to this place. I want to start this job, whatever the case may be. Like we constantly talk about all these things that we want to do, but usually we procrastinate and we put it off because we want to wait for the right time. But then I have the question of, well, when is the right time? Right. And personally, what I've seen throughout the process of doing all this, there is never going to be the right time. You'll always find a reason and some type of understanding as to why you can't do the things you want to do. Right. Even for me, like with my coaching business, like, dude, I'm not gonna lie, like it was probably the scariest fucking thing ever when I first started it. But it's like understanding that and just surrendering to the process and saying, like, hey, I'm just gonna fucking go for this because this is what I want, you know? And it ties into the next one. And I think this is also something that we really need to understand. Number two, it's not going to be easy. Let's just be real. And I think the more that you could accept that and just really let go of thinking things need to look a certain way. Because I think for me, and I can speak for a lot of my clients too, we have this idea and like fixation in our mind of what we think our journey is going to look like. But ultimately, it never really pans out that way. Like we want to absolutely nail our macros, training, cardio, this, and that. But we all know that life throws curveballs at us all the fucking time. So then it comes a process of like, hey, how can I continuously navigate through that regardless of what happens to me? And that core understanding of that, right? The belief that is created from continuously doing that could be the millimeter difference from staying stuck and being the same person 5 years from now and transforming your entire life in 6 months. And from personal experience, I have transformed every aspect of my existence tenfold with just a couple years from adopting this mentality and really like firmly abiding by that with every chance that I could. Because quite honestly, to be transparent with you guys, like there has been many, and I've talked about this with my clients and my team where, I really didn't think this was going to work out. And it is, and again, it's not to say that I have all the answers because I don't. And if you've been on this podcast for a little bit, you understand that's how I feel, but simply put, if you're always looking to try and do the least amount of work possible, and then like these things continuously come about, the roadblocks, setbacks, and adversity, and you're acting surprised when that happens, then of course you're probably going to be discouraged and you'll probably end up giving up the moment that it gets hard. And I say that with conviction because I did that a lot of my life. I used to try. I mean, my high school coaches could probably attest for this. They could make the argument that I was probably the laziest kid on the team, and I remember that. My coach, football coach, told me that my senior year. He was like, you know what, you're great and all, but you take plays off. You're lazy. You're this, and that. And it always stuck with me because it felt like a knife to the chest when I first heard that. And the reason it hurt was because I felt like it was true, and I knew it was true subconsciously, but I didn't want to admit that. And for whatever reason, I was just really reluctant to do the work, and I think a lot of us feel that way for whatever it is. We could sit here all day and point the finger and make excuses, but at the end of the day, if you just work harder and you accept that it's going to be fucking challenging, it's going to really serve you, and again, it's not just fitness, it applies to fucking everything. And that's really the last point that I wanted to make here tonight on this episode. Number 3, what allow will persist. I'll say that one more time. What you allow will persist. So if you are, let's make the example of maybe a relationship, because I've been in toxic relationships too. If you continue to allow certain behaviors to be okay, then you'll get more of that. Same thing with a job, like maybe you're in a toxic work environment and you don't really speak on that. And then you continue to allow that to happen and you don't have the tough conversation that needs to be had because maybe you're afraid of upsetting somebody, right? Just making an example. But what you allow will persist. So if you're continuously allowing that, then what you're going to get is exactly more of that. So understand that for a second, right? And if you just put your foot down and have a sweaty palm conversation, you'd be surprised at how much ground you could cover in a short period, I guess I could say, you know, just like really sit in that for a moment because there is many examples that I could give on that. But I think if you could really embody these 3 principles and apply that to whatever aspect is applicable for you when you're listening to this, it's really going to serve you. Can I get some are you guys here? What? There's usually like fucking 10 people. I'm not gonna do it at this time again. I think the afternoons usually pop off. Usually we have like fucking 20, 30 people on each one. But I'm gonna serve you guys that are here tonight, and I appreciate you guys for pulling up and listening to me. There's a few on each platform, and I love you guys for that. Alicia, what is good? Dude, Alicia's always on the freaking replays. I absolutely love it. Thank you, Alicia. You're a badass and you're crushing it. All right, so let's wrap up this episode. So, to recap this episode, 3 lessons that I've learned since 2020. Number 1, you will never be ready. There is never going to be the right time, and there will always be a reason and excuse to justify why you don't have what you want. Simply put, let go of that and surrender to the process and understand that more that you could take full responsibility for your motherfucking actions, the better that will carry you. Stop pointing the finger, stop blaming the circumstances. It's not anybody else's fault other than your own. So, sit in that for a moment. Number 2, it is not going to be easy. And again, you could apply these not just to your fitness journey, everything, business, career, relationships, doesn't fucking matter. It's not going to be easy. Surrender to that, let go. And I feel like I said surrender like 7 times in this episode. So you kind of get where I'm going with that. But I think a lot of times, like, we just try and cut corners. And I told you guys how inherently I'm a lazy person. And, I identified with that for a very long time. But recently I've just done a lot of work and I've worked with a lot of coaches that have helped me break free from that mentality. And I would genuinely encourage you in hopes to inspire you after listening to this, that you don't have to continuously identify with maybe the past version of yourself. And you just really need to do the best that you can to grasp that. And I think the more you do, the better it will serve you. And then last point, number 3, what you will allow, or hold on, I think I said that backwards. What you allow will persist. We covered that a little bit earlier as well. Just wanted to recap this as we wrap this up, the 3 lessons that I've learned since 2020. If you are continuously allowing poor behavior, whether that's not being integral with your words, skipping out of your meal prep, cardio, whatever it is, whatever it is, Maybe you're not being on time. Maybe you said you're going to be somewhere by a certain time and you're 5 minutes late. Maybe you said you're going to go get lunch with the friend and then you bail last minute, right? Like all those things matter because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I feel like I've said that 1 million times on this podcast, but it stays completely true to this day. Now, re-listen to this a few times. If you took notes, awesome. Now, apply this in action to some of the things that you have going on in your life right now. And I'm sure there's probably a couple things that you thought of as we talked about this here. And I really want to challenge you, like I said, and encourage you to take action on these, right? Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just take one of them, apply it into your life. I can almost guarantee you that for every person listening to this, you could take one of these core principles, lessons, and apply that into something in your life right now. Stay consistent with that for the next few weeks, and you will see a change. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Peace, love, and protein. We'll see you in the next episode. On that note, make sure if once you listen to this, send me a fucking message. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you'd like me to cover next. See you guys in the next one. Have the best day ever. Talk soon. Peace. Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you guys. I stayed true. I said I'm going to do 3 a week now. We're going to do 3 a week now because this is what it is. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.